tuition is worse.
And you guys have influence on your colleges to say, hey, we want you to bring in such and such. We want you to bring in Green Day or Rootberry, whoever. You know.
Very similar.
I hear you talk about how it just takes practice, and I'm thinking like, there's a lot of things that take practice, and you fail at them, and then you know, and then eventually you succeed. But with this, it seems to me like failure has some really serious consequences. Do you ever? So how do
Let me answer
try
that.
and
Not
fail
him.
and like yeah?
When he was learning to sword swallow, basically you sword swallow. I don't know if you said this, but you sword swallow until you throw up. And then your body, no, she said you cut yourself. No, and here's the thing. Ooh, big sword swallower secret. The sword is not sharp. If anyone tells you that the sword is sharp, they're lying to you or they're about to be in the hospital. Okay, that's why.
Or most commonly, they're doing the fake sword, which is why we showed it in the show.
You want to see the fake sword again?
Yeah.
You guys cheered more for that.
Fake sword.
This is the fake sword. It appears real. Okay? And then look. But listen, real closely.
Now show it right.
So it just coils up in my mouth like that. That's
like
like
a
a sort of
slap.
Right, this guy just said it's like a slap bracelet. So you have a slap bracelet? So the reason why we started doing this in our show is we did a convention and it was us and 6 magicians. And Bill sword swallowed, and then a magician went out and used this. But he never acted as if it was fake. He did it as if it was real. And to put it bluntly, it pissed us off to the point where we don't like people who fake things, ladies. Write your own jokes at this point. Sure, I was just. Anyways, no, but I mean, it made us mad. We're like, you know what? Bill genuinely went through the whole process of learning it. We're gonna bust it. So I say, you know, I say in the show, you know, having 1 sword swallower is rare. Having 2 sword swallowers is extremely rare. Everybody's just like, whoa. and then they're like, ha ha ha, you really can't do it.
My favorite thing is when I do the first one, a lot of times people are like, oh, and he does the fake one, I'm like, oh.
And I mean, this is the thing. As you see, Bill lets go of the sword and then lets it slide down into him. If I do that, it's clear that it's
If I did that, I'd be going to the hospital.
So I mean, pretty much. I mean, these cost $20 online. They're called magician sword swallowing things. You can get one and fake it out and tell everyone you're a sword swallower. But then they're going to find out that Rootberry does it for real. You're going to get any comments now. Question back there?
Yeah, just and I know you guys probably get asked this a lot, but what's the worst thing that's happened during the show for each of you guys, where you're like, oh, you know, other than a joke not going off, but like something that
we have video.
Not that that ever happens.
We have video on our Rootberry channel. It's called
Crazy Volunteer.
Crazy Volunteer. I was telling them I broke my arm skimboarding on the beach with my son. I had broken my arm, and before they had a chance to do surgery on my arm, we had to fly up to do a cruise ship. And the way it works on Carnival is you fly in on that day, we do a show, and in the next port you fly out. So
the cruise had already been going for a few days, so we get up to do our show, and I grab the sword and I jump out, and I start saying, I need someone to help me out, and the whole audience starts chanting, Dorothy, Dorothy, and they're all pointing at this woman right here. And I'm like, oh, Dorothy, she must be here with a family reunion, and this is like her birthday.
it should be known that Dorothy appears to be about 109 years old.
So I hand her the sword just like normal, like, oh yeah, check it out, blah, blah, blah. And she takes the sword and tries to stab me. If I had not jumped back, she would have impaled me. And I jumped back like, haha, that wasn't cool. Like, haha. And then she stands up and starts chasing me. This is a 105-year-old woman. So I retreat to the stage, and I jump up on the stage, and I'm still trying to play it out like, ha, that's real funny, Dorothy, yeah, you're So where I finally, the second row on this side, there was no one sitting there. I leapt off the stage into the second row, like, oh, you can't get me here. But then she goes over to John, and was sitting there with a broken arm.
I have a broken arm, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, Dorothy, I have nothing. I have a broken arm. I can't even defend myself. Something, I mean, you can see it on our YouTube channel. It's called Crazy Volunteer.
She comes over, she starts putting toilet paper rolls on the sword, she puts a big soccer ball between her legs,
And then
she takes a DVD.
she has a cone. She's like humping a cone. She's like 10 years old. I'm not exaggerating. Really, she.
Oh my goodness. I gotta check that out now.
Well, then I say, hey, here's a DVD, you know, and she's like, you know, I'm like, no, it's free. And she's like, it's free? I'm like, well, just for you, you know, not for everybody. And so I give her a DVD, we sit her down, and then like, I don't know, later in the show, she comes back up. We do a bit, you can see it online. It's where I inhale helium and I sing and stuff. Well, she comes up while I'm sucking helium.
She comes up and I'm like, she just kept going. She just kept going.
She's trying to get some helium on stage, and I'm like, so anyways, if you guys want, check that out. So I mean, I know this sounds funny, it sounds cheesy at a convention like this, but that's why we love YouTube. We happened to film that show, and we got that, and I mean, it's real. I mean, this is really happening. So that was a long answer to a short question. But I mean, we have several things. I mean, we've had some crazy travel stuff. We stole a car once accidentally. No joke. We went to the. Do you know this story? No. We went to the Portland Juggling Festival. We were booked to do the MC, and the people we stayed with, we flew in. Mike and Allison, they picked us up at the airport. They said, "Hey, you're staying with us." The next day comes around. They say, "Here's the key to our Nissan car." They give us the keys.
We take off. We get ready. We're going to go out and see the town. We walk out front. There's a Nissan across the street. There's a Nissan literally two or three houses down on our side. And I say, John, which one do you think it is? He says, this one's closer. Let's try that one. We walk over, put the key in, open it up, start it up, drive around all day.
7 hours. We were driving around downtown Portland, Oregon. We went to lunch. We went to a juggling store that's there. Well, that night we come back to, you know, get cleaned up and go to the juggling convention, and there's this strong knock at the door. And so we're checking our emails and stuff, and I get up and I look at the people, and there's this guy who's like running. And so I open the door, and like little beknownst to me, there's a guy here with a gun drawn on him. And like out of view, there's another police car with their doors open with guns pointed at us. And
I said, it wasn't me, it was John.
But seriously, he was still inside, and they're like, put your hands up. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, sure.
They didn't think it was funny, he's doing a little bit.
So they said, who was driving that car? And I instantly go, Bill? You know, I'm like, it wasn't me. I don't know what you guys do for speeders, but you know.
I'm right in the middle of getting ready to go, so I don't have my shirt. I walk in, I'm all tatted. And now there's not only one suspect. Now there's two. And I'm like, oh. And he's just like, what do you want? And they're like, do you have the keys? Well, he's like, you know, starts reaching his pocket slowly. If I was a police officer, I'd be freaked out too. Well, what we didn't know is that in the morning, the neighbors had watched us steal their car. Just out their kitchen window doing this. And the way they described it is I had my head shaved, two tattooed freaks stole our car. And so we drove around or whatever. That whole time, the police knew that we were in a stolen car. If we had been pulled over downtown, we wouldn't have been able to say, no, we're staying with these people, they have a Nissan. What ended up happening is they went down to the other Nissan. And as I'm walking down with the key, I'm thinking, please open the door, please open the door to this other Nissan, please, or I'm going to jail. And put the key in, open the door, put in the ignition, start it up. Same key, fit two cars, different makes, from like 10 years apart.
Wow.
So then, the best part is the police officer is walking back laughing with Bill, but the neighbors are unamused. And they're like, arrest these guys. Well, they are not native English speakers. And they're like, arrest him. And they're like, no, it was a misunderstanding. And you know they're thinking, man, this place is so corrupt. And the other officers are still like, they don't really know what's going on until like he explains it. No, it was a mistake. They have a key. It opens both cars and stuff. But we were very fortunate that didn't happen in downtown Portland because, I mean, they asked us, they're like, who are you staying with? And I said, Mike and Allison. And they said, well, what's their last names? I don't know. Yeah. Any other questions? We're just, I mean, we're just give an answer.
Did you ever find out why the crowd was chanting?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a phenomenal
Yeah.
question.
Oh, that's a great one. During the Dorothy incident, she asked, did you ever find out why the whole crowd knew who she was? Apparently, because we were joining day 3 or 4 of the cruise, on the first day, she had charged up onto the stage and like accosted the cruise director and stolen his mic and started doing her own little comedy routine. The pit was open, the orchestra was in. She could have fallen 30 feet to her death. And it was like
if you work on Celebrity Cruise Lines, they actually had somebody fall into the pit and break their leg and sue them for $1 million. And so if you work on Celebrity Cruise Lines, they tell you you're not allowed to have a volunteer on the stage whatsoever if the pit is open.
Right.
Well,
they just charge up.
Carnival, you can do whatever you want, apparently. But
and then on the second night, there was a comedian up, and same thing. 3 or 4 times she had gotten up into his show, so the whole crowd knew who she was. The tech crew knew who she was. The only people who didn't know who she was us.
And the best part is, I asked the tech crew afterwards. I said, because it's a liability issue. If somebody's coming up on stage and stuff, especially someone who's 80-something years old or whatever. And I said to them, how come nobody helped us in that situation? And this is genuinely the answer of the tech group. We wanted to see what you guys would do. Thanks guys for having our back. Any other questions?
You guys were first starting out. How do you deal with this? Out of hospital, did your family think you were insane?
He asked a great question. He said, when you were first starting out, did your family think you were insane?
This is great because I think this is directly correlated to people who are making videos and your families are saying, what are you doing that video thing for? That's never going to go anywhere for you, blah, blah, blah. We have the same thing with this. People are saying, you want to juggle? That's not going to make you any money.
His mom said to him, when are you going to stop spending all this money on this crap and really take this seriously? And
it wasn't pretty much until doing this, which I loved, I was making better money than my brother, who had a really good real job. And I was doing better at just throwing stuff in the air.
And then, there was, when we got laid off from Legoland, I was telling you, we worked for Legoland California Kids Theme Park for 3 years. When I got laid off, my mom's like, well, so, what are you going to do? And I'm like, we're going to look for juggling. She's like, no, really, what are you going to do? It's like, this is it. We have our eggs in this basket. This is what we're doing. I committed that, we're going to make a run at this for better or for worse. And,
here we are 14 years in.
You bring up an extremely valid point. Still now, if people say to us, so what do you do? Because we wear our Rootberry shirts when we travel. Actually, we wear them all the time because we're trying to promote ourselves. But people say, what's on your chant? What is that? And Bill says to them, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And they go, okay, what's really on it? And he goes, it's kind of hard to explain. And if we really do explain, well, he's a sword swallower, we're juggler, we travel around, we perform. People are like, yeah, really, what is it? They don't believe us. It's like, that's why we love YouTube. We can send them there, and people are like, oh, wow. They can see what we do, and it's just a great venue for us. I'm staying with my family here, my extended family, and my aunt was saying, so who's I Just Seen last night? And so I showed her a video, and the first video comes up, and it's her doing this music spoof. And she goes, why is she doing that? And I go, that's a really good question. And she goes, who is she? And I go, she's just Justine. This is what she does. She talks on camera. She makes fun things. Sometimes she goes to the Mac store. She genuinely says, well, why do people watch her? I just didn't have a good answer. I don't know. She's pretty. She's cute. She is fun. I don't know. I mean, like,
You never know what you're going to get when you get to her channel. It's totally
right, but I
every
mean,
time. So.
that's the world we live in. I mean, that's why YouTube is so awesome. I mean, for you guys, I mean, when you guys started vlogging, I mean, did people, I mean, do people get it now?
No. No, I mean, I live in Montana, so there's not a lot of like people don't. I have the most Twitter followers of anyone in Montana. And that's not because I have a lot of Twitter followers. That's because no one else has Twitter followers. Like the next one down is the newspaper in my town, and it has like 1,000. I have 20 times more followers than anyone else. And so there's no one is involved in social media. No, there's a very sort of small, tech community. Mostly what we do is we shoot things and we fish and we ski. What?
Why are you mad?
I mean, I love it there. It's kind of. I mean, there's lots of reasons why I like it, but yeah. I mean, when my friends understand that it's what I do, they don't watch. And sometimes, like when something really embarrassing happens, like the time that I had to run around my house dressed as Carrie Bradshaw and sing Rick Astley song, then all of my friends saw it. That's the only time they watch. Is when
I've noticed a trend, like for us, like our YouTube channel has now surpassed our Facebook and our Twitter and all that. And now it's a funny thing because we had a strong base of followers on Facebook, about 2,000 people, and now our YouTube people are starting to join Facebook. And when we post a video on there, they comment on it and stuff. And so I wrote the other day, it's funny to see the people, my friends on Facebook, who don't understand the YouTube thing, go like I mean, the comments are getting longer and longer, the threads and stuff from our YouTubers commenting on Facebook. And it's just fascinating because our juggling friends and stuff, and I used to compete in a sport with my son, they're just like, oh yeah, that's neat. But they just don't understand the YouTube thing.
Well, they don't understand where it's going and what it's going to be in a year, in 2 years. That this is going to be what media is. I mean, before we became here, this was my prediction, and after hearing the things I've heard and seeing what I've seen, and meeting people I've met, more than ever, I think we are going to see a media revolution that is greater than anything except for possibly the internet itself. Would you agree? I mean, this is going to turn around everything. I even said to a guy earlier today, he came down, he wanted to talk to you from the boxing commission. Did you find him?
Yeah, I was like, I work with the World Boxing Hall of Fame. I was like, why the hell are you here?
Then they wanted to talk to you,
Yeah.
and I told him, I said, this is where things are going to go. And he said, well, who's going to do the content?
That's the one thing you don't have to worry about. The content gets made. People have said to me, like, are you putting stuff from VidCon on YouTube? And I'm like, I don't have to. You'll find it, man. Just
When we
search.
posted our first video from VidCon,
Yeah.
somebody wrote, oh, I saw that on Charles Natalie's channel. Because in the alley was filming or whatever, and I'm in the background, and so from my perspective, it's her. From her perspective, it's me. And they're like, yeah, we've already seen that. It's like, I imagine you have.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, we're just blathering. You guys don't have to stay. If you guys have questions for us, or there's any other amazing YouTubers who are in the room. Question back there?
So I'm not a YouTuber. I don't create any content. But I have a question. You do juggling and you have math. But there are many jugglers around the world, in different cities, who are not aware that there is this way of earning, so to speak. And the primary objective is not that you want to earn, but the primary objective is to find more audience, and a revenue stream, which can lead to a revenue stream. But do you do anything to help inform those people which are in the same field as yours, but are not aware necessarily about this? That there's something like YouTube, and you can actually promote yourself on those mediums?
I don't know if you guys heard his question. He asked, are you guys letting other jugglers and stuff know about YouTube and stuff? We're learning so much on a daily basis. I mean, I took this guy's class, and I mean, I've started vlogging and I've started doing stuff, but just a couple things he said, it's like, oh, like he said, you need to start your video when the sound starts. And it's like, yeah, I know that, but hearing it from another source, it's like, oh, that makes sense, because you'll watch people's videos and there'll be a delay, and it just feels unnatural. But anyways, getting back to your question, we're learning so much, and we've had one person from the juggling world notice that we're growing. We've gone in the past 7 months, 14, our channel's grown 14 times, over and over and over.
But you have 17 subscribers.
But that's, and I say all that to say it's only because of the community. We have this guy named Eric Surf 6 in Japan, and you know Eric, and at the beginning of the year he had 30,000 subscribers, and I was blown away. I was like, this is amazing. He does little tricks. You know, he has a little pen trick that has 4 million views or something on it. And he's the 6th most subscribed to in Japan, and he's a white boy living in Japan. So
I think just a summary of the answer to the question is, what we see for the majority of the entertainers we know, comedians, jugglers, ventriloquists, whatever, who are on YouTube, they're doing the exact same thing that we did when we first joined YouTube. They used it as an outlet to try to promote their business, so they start a YouTube channel, they put up 2 or 3 demonstration videos, maybe a couple funny intro videos or whatnot, and then they don't ever do anything with it again, and they think of it as well, I need to have a presence on YouTube, but they're not a presence on YouTube at all, because they're just putting a couple videos up, and maybe a handful of people find it if they search for them by name. They're not getting their channel all blown up into something significant.
And along with that, it's a lot of work. I mean, as anyone who has made a tremendous amount of successful, it's so much work to put up videos, because you cannot skip a week. If we skip a week now, people are like, what's wrong? You don't like us? You know what I mean? Like, how come we haven't put up a video? And they don't do it in a mean way or anything. And the other thing we've started to see is when we get haters now, our subscribers take care of them. They're like, don't mess with Root Beer. And it's so funny because, I mean, it's awesome to see, but some of them are just like, you know, I mean, and I don't care what you write on our site. I don't care if you cuss. I fully believe in free speech and stuff. And somebody wrote something derogatory, and another person wrote, don't cuss. And my response was, I don't care if you cuss, you know, it doesn't matter to me. And then the next response was, just fuck. Yeah, cool. I don't know where I was going with that.
So what do you say we limited to just a handful more questions, 3 or 4 more?
Does anyone know the score on the World Cup?
0-0.
Yes.
Well,
She said, do you have a time ring? I said, yes.
Did you get specifically for the sound of the sword going?
Okay, okay. I have taken it out a time or 2, thinking, maybe I want to go a different direction, because we're not doing so much free show type stuff as we used to. And then, the first show I do, I go to do the sword, and it doesn't make that sound, because when I have the mic on, you can just hear it just sliding across. And that makes such an amazing sound that impacts the audience in such a visceral way that I've always put it back in for that exact reason, because it's just, I mean, even right here, could you hear it? So I love that. And it's amazing that our show has been fine-tuned to the point that things that small.
Sound is very important.
Look over, he's like,
where do you see yourself in 5, 10, 20 years down the road?
Great question, because we are at a amazing transitional period in our careers right now. Both of us have recently experienced injuries. I had to have hernia surgery. I was working out on a cruise ship. My belly button was suddenly an outie instead of an innie. So I had herniated, whatever that's called. But so I had that surgery.
The technical term is a hernia.
It's an umbilical hernia, that's what it is. So he's broken his arm twice. He's had the 2 knee surgeries now. And we're thinking we can obviously get funnier in our show and stop doing quite as much athletic stuff. But we need to figure out what our transitions are going to be, what we are going to be doing 10 years from now. And we love our show. We talk about it. If we won $1 billion tomorrow, we would still do our show. We wouldn't do it quite as much.
We're doing it this weekend for free.
Thank you, guys.
We'll do it again next year.
Really? Awesome. So, yeah, I will double what I paid you this year.
Just double nothing.
Question on the back.
So really quick, just to finish your question, I would love nothing more than for our YouTube channel to grow slowly but surely to a point where we can, because right now we still have to focus the majority of our energy on our show. And when we're traveling around, it's so hard to keep up on the videos. Like you said, I would love to get to a point where we can divvy it up about half and half, because again, we love doing the show, we never want to stop doing it. But I would love to be able to really dedicate to YouTube the way we've dedicated to the juggling. And Olga knows this. The first time we ever competed in the championships, we got a silver. And we were just happy to be in, because we were still relatively new, we had good routines, we were up against some great guys, we got a silver stuff. Second time we competed, we got a silver again, and we had gone with the hope of winning. We really hoped to win. And it was very frustrating. So then we took a year off, came back, and finally on the third time performing, we won the gold medal. And I want to put that kind of energy. That was 7 years in the making, specifically for that goal. And I want to be able to have exactly that 5-10-year YouTube goals that are written down with, and I always say this, what's the difference between a dream and a goal? You can have a dream, almost like a wish. What's the difference between a dream and a goal?
You have to. There's steps to get to the dream.
The difference between a dream and a goal is a plan. It's the only
You
difference.
just gotta write it down or type it.
What I mean is, if I'm not where I want to be, or if I'm not doing what I want to be, I have to think to myself, well, what's the dream? What's the goal? I need a plan. So figure out the plan. That's a nice flow. Alliteration aside.
Wait, one more question for that, and then I'll let you guys.
You got a great attitude about all the haters, but when you were originally starting, did you still feel the same way?
Oh, well, I shouldn't tell you guys this, but if you go to the Jonathan Rootcom channel, that's my original channel, I have some not so shiny moments on that channel that you can see in my comments. And I haven't deleted them because that's how I felt at that time. I responded back to them. I left them up because, that's how I responded. Somebody wrote gay on our channel, and I wrote, thanks for letting us know. and the thing is, and let me just say this about gay. If you call somebody who's straight gay, it's like calling me polka dot. I'm not. And the thing is, I really think the YouTube community is being used in great ways to bring I won't even say the gay issue. It's not an issue. It's two people making a contractual agreement between what? Don't point at me. It's two people, willing, consenting adults agreeing to be in a loving relationship. And I grew up. I was born and raised in a Christian family and stuff, and let me tell you, when I talk to my family nowadays about how I feel about gay marriage and stuff, they're like, well, you're too liberal. And it's like, if you want to narrow it down to one word, that's fine, but I consider myself just, I have a healthy, in my opinion, a healthy perspective on the issue.
And we've talked about this. We commonly have 350-mile drives just to get from the airport to a college or to a show or whatnot. And in summary, we talked about this in 20 years from now, we don't think it'll even be an issue. It'll probably be a non-issue.
We hope.
goodness, how cool is that? A woman gets to work in the workplace.
I was reading a book. I know it's a novel these days. Yeah. And the author said, if you consider yourself straight and you believe it's a decision, to be, that being gay is a decision, then as a straight person, it should be a vital point in your life when you chose to be straight. Because you would think that's a major, major decision in your life. But I've been straight. I
had a crush on a girl in 2nd grade.
So I don't know. I mean, it's just something to think about. And I mean, obviously, we've gone from
how does this have the time?
Right. No, but that's a question.
So that comment made you think that deep.
Oh, but I just wondering.
You ask him something, he'll tell you all sorts of stuff.
What if I call you straight?
Yeah. It's just, I mean, like, if somebody calls me gay, I mean, look at Bill's pants. I'm serious, there was, I don't know if you guys know who Stir Fry TV is. We've been wearing the pants all weekend and stuff. And one day I was dressed very similar to this, and they all had the pants on, and they went down the escalator, and this is
a funny image.
And there was this dad and his son behind me on the escalator because I have a knee injury. I was much slower than them. And the kid goes, "Look at those guys." And the dad goes, "Yeah." And that was it. I'm like, what do they really think? Because I didn't have my pants on. I'm like, some people say nice pants, and you can tell they really think they're nice pants, and some people are like, yeah, nice pants. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I want to go. So we're gonna let everybody go. We'll hang out as long as you guys want. If you want to ask more questions.
Do we have to be out of the room?
Yeah, what time is it, do you know?
It's
Something
almost
just
5
happened.
o'clock.
It's almost 5 o'clock in what town?
It's
So it's almost... Yeah.
Apparently something happened.
Yeah. Let's just go see.
I think there was